Okay. Hello. Uh, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and coming on Grue. I appreciate it. Thank you for that.
There. Yes.
Hello there.
Hello. How's it going today?
Right, thank you. I've just managed to get my face in the picture.
Okay, here we go.
What are you after? What do you want to know about us?
Oh, well, I've been a fan for a long time. Like growing up as a kid, I was always a fan, and so just want to ask about wrestling, about
You've obviously got very good taste.
So, okay. So like the first thing I wanted to ask is like what drew you to wrestling? Because I was reading as a teenager that you were big into lifting weights and body building. So what drew you into the world of wrestling?
Well, my older brother just came back home after sort of going to a bodybuilding contest where he saw Reg Parks, and he was really impressed. He was going overboard about it, and he brought back a magazine that he gave to me with like pictures of Reg Parks and a few other bodybuilders, like the old sort of time ones and everything like that. Well, that got me hooked straight away. I wanted to do it. And I saved as much money as I could. First of all, I made myself a barbell out of an iron railing.
Oh, wow.
I fastened 2 buckets on the end that I filled with bricks, and that's all I had to work with at the time. I was 11 years of age at the time. And anyway, I started working. I got myself a paper round, and I worked on the market and everything like that on the weekends to sort of get some money together. And when I could afford it, I actually bought a barbell that weighed 165 pounds. And that's all I had to work out with back in those days.
Wow.
But anyway, I was hooked on bodybuilding, and whenever I'd sort of go to the only place I could get the bodybuilding magazine, there was a magazine shop in a town that was nearby. I'd have to take a bus ride over there, and any bodybuilding magazines, I'd buy them.
Okay.
Well, there was a friend of mine called Peter Inge, and I was trying to get him interested in lifting weights with me, but he was into wrestling, and he used to sort of tell me about, this wrestler's got a drop kick like this, that, and the other, and I'd be saying, yeah, but Reg Parks has got a 52-inch chest, 20 arms, and what have you. But anyway, I was at Ebervale one day looking for wrestling magazines, and I happened to notice, bodybuilding magazines. I happened to notice some American boxing and wrestling magazines, and I thought, I'll buy those for Peter. I'm sure he hasn't got them. Anyway, on the bus coming back to the town I lived in, I sort of started looking through the wrestling part of the magazine to sort of see what Peter was interested in. I was hooked.
Oh, wow.
it's funny because my mother used to say to me, okay, when you get, what are you going to do with all the muscles, like when you get them? And my answer then was like, look after them. But anyway, when my mother asked me the next time, what are you going to, what are you going to do with all your muscles when you get them? I said to her, I'm going to be the best professional wrestler I can be. And I already made my mind up then that I was going to be a pro wrestler.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
And like,
I was hooked. The person that impressed me the most, there was two wrestlers that impressed me the most at the time. One of them was Don Lear Jonathan, and the other one was Nature Boy Buddy Rogers.
yes.
Those are the two I was interested in at that particular time. And anyway, my dad had me out of school working in a coal mine when I was 15 years of age. I didn't
Wow.
coal mine at all. I mean, it's dark down there and I was made to be seen. Anyway, I always sort of talk to anybody that I could talk to about like wrestling and stuff like that. And all the other miners, including my father, you can't be a wrestler, you're too small. Little guys out there rip you in half like. Anyway, I made my mind up I was going to be a pro wrestler and that was it. And I didn't like the coal mine at all. I didn't like my father either. My father was probably about the most unpleasant person I've ever met in my life.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, I ran away from home when I was 16, went to live in London, got a job in a nut and bolt factory. Ended up getting into a fight with a big Irishman and got fired. Managed to get another job in Wembley Stadium.
Oh, wow.
Sweeping up tickets and stuff like that, raking the track and everything like that for the grounds in the winter time when it's sort of frosted over and all that kind of stuff. Straight away, whenever I got to London, I went to Dale Martin's office. They were like the biggest promoters in Britain. I thought they were the only ones at the time. And I marched in there like, right, I've arrived, like I want to be a pro wrestler. And Jack Dale said to me, are you, what amateur championships have you won, everything like that? I said, I'm not an amateur wrestler. I want to be a pro. I want to get paid. I said, amateur wrestlers don't get paid. I want to be a pro. He said, don't work like that. He said, you need to be an amateur champion first. And even then, like, you might not be good enough to be a pro.
Oh, wow.
And I thought I was a really good wrestler, Anyway, I kept going back. I said, well, I'm older. And I mean, I had like a good physique at the time. I mean, I had 47-inch chest, a 27-inch waist, 28-inch difference and stuff like that. But anyway, I joined the YMCA and they had amateur wrestlers down there and pro wrestlers used to go down there and train. Pro wrestlers used to train mostly on the weights.
Yeah.
Now and again, they'd sort of get on the mat and sort of wrestle and everything like that. Anyway, even the pro wrestlers that I spoke to when I got there, you can't be a wrestler, you're too small. Little guys like you are 10 a penny, you know what I mean? Forget it. I was determined to make it. Anyway, I got talking to no, in actual fact, before I ever got to get my first pro match, I started boxing. There was
Oh,
a fairground came to a part of London that I was living in, and I went there and I started challenging the people. You know, I went up there and sort of, yeah, I'll fight him. I wanted to fight the big guy there because the big guy was the main event. And I would have got £5 to fight him, whether I won or whether I lost.
oh, okay.
And they wouldn't let me. They said he's a heavyweight, like fight him instead. I said I only get £1 for that. I'd get £1 or £3. £3 if I won, but they wouldn't let me fight the big guys. Anyway, I start fighting there, and I now I'm not a boxer. I can fight, but I mean boxing's got rules, and I've always said, doesn't matter how you win as long as you cheat. Because there's no rule, as far as I was concerned, there was no rules in fighting.
Yeah.
No rules at all. I'll hit you with anything I can lay my hands on. I can hit you in the nuts and and bite your nose. Anyway, when I went up to fight the first time, he said, "What's your name, kid?" And I said, kid, I was trying to think of something to do with Donnelly or Jonathan, because I thought to myself, that'll be my name. So I said, Kid Jonathan. He said, oh, okay. Because what's your name, kid? Kid Jonathan. Anyway, I was Kid Jonathan, and at a particular time, I was modeling for different physique magazines in London. Posed for all of them, actually. And when I first started wrestling, I was earning more money as a physique model than I was for wrestling.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, that was that. I mean, as far as the boxing was concerned, I mean, the punches I had and everything like that was so wild. The people in the front row were in more danger than my opponent. I was getting nosebleeds. I mean, my nose would bleed for no reason at all. I remember I actually had money now. I could sort of buy some food and eat it. I was in a cafe. I bit down on a crusty roller I just bought. I bit down and both barrels poured all over it.
Oh,
And
my God, man.
she was horrified. I can't stop eating it. I said, more protein. I had headaches and my nose would bleed, and that was that. Anyway, getting back to the YMCA, I go down there and they had a balcony that had the weights. You know, you do all the weightlifting up there. And a lot of wrestlers used to come in there, they'd be lifting weights and wrestling, everything like that. Mostly downstairs, it was amateur wrestlers wrestling. But anyway, some of these wrestlers I'd seen actually gone to the shows and watched them wrestling in places like Newport and Cardiff in Wales. And I mean, I really admired a lot of them. I go up to a lot of them and say, like, you know, I'm going to be a pro. even the wrestlers were saying to me, you can't be a wrestler, you're too small. Little guys like you, 10 a penny and everything. And really pissed me off. Anyway, I remember looking down at the wrestlers and stuff like that down there, and I thought to myself, I'm going to go down there, whoever's down there wrestling, I'm going to sort of wrestle with them. I'm going to wipe them out, and I'm going to be so good and batter them so bad and everything like that. Jack Dale's going to get to hear of it, and he's going to give me my chance, you know. Anyway, I went down there. I was there looking down, and there was a couple of wrestlers wrestling, but there wasn't enough people in there. I wasn't an audience. There was a couple of people playing handball, some doing like some gymnastics and that sort of stuff, and everything like that. There was a big, good-looking guy playing handball against the wall there, playing handball by himself. And I realized I've seen him somewhere. Where have I seen him? It was Roger Moore. Roger Moore, right? Saint.
Yeah, the same.
Yeah. Roger Moore used to play the Saint. And he also played Ivanhoe. And he was playing handball by himself and everything like that. I mean, he got to be one of the James Bonds.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was there playing handball and everything like that. And I'm watching, there's a few people around anyway, some of them went away. I've got to get down there. I wanted as much audience to show what I was going to do to these two amateur guys that were wrestling down there. So I went down there and see a couple of people leaving, and I got impatient. I got really quite rude. I believe in being polite, tell you the truth. You know, I think everybody should be polite. They don't have to like each other. Just be polite. But anyway, I barged onto the mat and said, hey, which one of you is going to wrestle with me? You know, and one of them said, oh, I'll give you a pull. There was a guy called Frank Nottingham and another one called Alf Jacobs.
Okay.
Two amateur wrestlers. Anyway, as the other one started to walk away, I said, don't go. I said, don't be going anywhere. You're next. Frank Nottingham turned me inside out, upside down. I didn't know if I was coming or going or anything like that. Then
Oh my.
Alf Jacobs, as soon as he sort of finished with me, Alf Jacobs says, okay, it's my turn. Oh, I mean, he twisted me, pulled me. I mean, showed me how much I didn't have a bloody clue. I mean, I was used to wrestling with my mates back home and I beat all of them easy.
Yeah.
They weren't wrestlers, these guys were. They turned me inside out and they kept on taking turns and everything like that. In the end, I couldn't get up off the mat. I'm just laying there. Anyway, I managed to crawl up and everything like that. Sweat was pouring out of me. I couldn't hold my head up. I'd hold my head up with my hands. I walked past Roger Moore, and he said to me, okay. And I still wondered if he meant in the body or in the brain. You all right, kid? He said, you all right, Sam? I said, I walked into the dressing room. Absolutely, I've never been so exhausted in all my life. Believe me, working in a coal mine could be exhausting.
Yeah.
I lay there with my hands. I had all my head with my hands, and I put my head down on my lap, and I watched the sweat pouring out of me. There was a puddle in front of me, and rivulets running away. That's how much I sweat.
Oh my God.
I got in the shower. I managed to have a shower. Got myself dry, And I went up to the cafe there. I also drink like loads of milk. I went up there and bought myself a pint of milk. And I had to try to hold my head up. I had to try to hold my head up with my hand and try to pour the milk in one side of my mouth. I had it all running down my, running all down my weeded t-shirt. Oh, I was in a state. I tell you what, talk about being disillusioned. So anyway, I remember walking over to Two Eyes Coffee Bar in SoHo to sort of brighten myself up a little bit. And I went in there and the music and everything like that was absolutely fantastic. That rejuvenated me.
Oh, wow.
The Two Eyes Coffee Bar there, the basement downstairs where Tommy Steele was discovered there. Long John Baldry, Cliff Richards. Now, the story about Cliff Richards, actually, another time when I was there, I was sitting by the bar having a cup of coffee before I went downstairs. There's like a dungeon down there, more or less, where they had the singers and everything like that would be up on the stage, and it would be packed. People would be down there like sardines. It was like the Black Hole of Calcutta down there. Anyway, I was sitting there one day, and there was a guy sitting a couple of seats away from me. And a few guys came in, and I didn't realize at the time that they were one of the bands that was downstairs. But one of them came up with a guy that was sitting just 2 stools away from me. And he did like an Elvis Presley, like with a lip up. "You're sitting in my seat. Get out." And this guy said, "Yeah, okay," and so took a coffee and everything like that. Damn, I wish he'd said that to me. I'd have made his lip like that bleeding permanent. I really wanted to hit him, you know. And he was like full of himself, and these other guys are like worshiping him more or less.
Mhm.
I said, "Come on, Cliff," he said, "we got to go down, better get downstairs, like we should be on stage." I left my coffee and I was after him, you know what I mean? Otherwise, if you say anything, down there you couldn't hardly move. But I mean, it was like Moses parting the Red Sea, like for him and his band to come through, and they went up to the stage. And I pushed my way up there and everything like that. I told myself, I really wanted to hit him, you know, for being so rude to this,
Yeah, definitely.
this other poor defenseless guy, like when he's got all his band around him. He got on stage and started singing. I became a fan. I actually paid money a couple of weeks later to go watch him performing, him and his band performing in Chiswick Empire in London.
Okay.
Cliff Richards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was Cliff Richards. I'm so glad I didn't hit him.
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, that was it, I guess. But everybody said to me, "Okay, you're going to be a professional wrestler. What are you going to do? You know, what are you going to do for a job?" I said, "Be a professional wrestler." They said, "You can't be a full-time professional wrestler. You know, they've all got jobs and everything like that. They just wrestle like in the weekends or like on local shows and stuff like that. You know, you can't be a pro wrestler." On my way home on the bus, I looked over and I saw the first main event wrestler that I'd ever seen, Bird Azarati, standing outside a dance hall as a bouncer. Oh, I tell you, I was so sad. I mean, it sort of absolutely spoiled my day. As if it hadn't been bad enough. There was like one of the biggest names in Britain. In actual fact, his wife was a promoter. So, I mean, it isn't as if he, you know, I mean, to be getting the cream of the crop and everything like that, as far as shows are concerned.
Yeah.
Biggest name, he was the biggest name in British wrestling at the time. And he had a job as a bouncer.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, what happened is I kept going to the YMCA. Most of the actual wrestlers that went there, they just make fun of me. There was one wrestler called Chick Osmond. He said, I'll show you some stuff. I'll show you some stuff. And there was like a little room, hardly room for anything, just room for a mat on the floor. I mean, didn't have ropes or anything like that in there. Just a wall. Anyway, I went in there and he started showing me different stuff and everything like that. And he said, you need to learn to relax a lot more. Anyway, he said to me one day, would you do me a favor? He said, I've just started wrestling for Dale Martins. He said, and I was wrestling for this independent promotion. I said, I didn't know there was any independents. He said, there's lots. He said, you know, he said, you don't have to wrestle for Dale Martins. He said, there's lots of different promoters, just small time. He said, but anyway, he said, I've been wrestling for these people, a guy called Johnny Charles. And he said, in the Addington Hotel, and they run a few other shows as well about, but that was like the main one. They run that every other week. So he said, I've been showing you wrestling. He said, so I'd like you to do me a favor. He said, would you go to the Addington Hotel, tell him that Chick Osmond sent you, and that I would be there to replace him. You know, that he didn't leave him in a lurch. Anyway, I went there, and the main promoter there was a guy called Johnny Childs. He says to me, I went in there. Oh, okay. He said, yeah. He said, you look good. He said, what's your name? I said, and I remembered, like on the boxing, I said, Kid Jonathan. In fact, I even used to use the name Kid Jonathan in the physique magazines. I said, Kid Jonathan. He said, you look like Tarzan. He said, Tarzan Jonathan. I said, okay, well, I said Kid Tarzan Jonathan, because that sounded like Donnelly Jonathan. So I was Kid Tarzan Jonathan, and that's what I was billed as.
Oh.
Anyway, he said, give me your address, give me your phone number. I said, I don't have a phone. I didn't, you know, I mean, I lived in a little pokey one-room, just one-room apartment.
Oh, okay.
Share the bathroom and didn't even have a kitchen.
Wow.
Anyway, a couple of weeks later, I got a post, and he sent me a poster. I opened it. I was main event. First match, I was main event against a guy called Gentleman
Joff Moran.
Yeah, Gentleman Joff Moran. And he was a big villain.
Wow.
Right. So anyway, I went there, and it's funny because he said, "Okay, you're wrestling with gentleman Geoff Moran," and it's what was it, 8-round contest. I said, "Yeah, all right." Gentleman Geoff Moran came up. He said, "Oh, Kurt," he said, "right." He said, "I'll be going over. I'll be winning." I said, "Yeah, right." We'll see about that. Anyway, he was trying to arrange the match. He was trying to arrange the match with me. And, you know, I mean, anybody who told me the wrestling was fixed or anything like that,
Yeah.
they'd be in big trouble with me. I'd be showing them that it wasn't. Anyway, he said, "I'm going to do this, I'll do that, I'll do sort of something else." And I thought he was just like somebody, like doing a psycho job on me, you know what I mean? Sort of like, "Yeah, I'll do this and I'll do that." And he said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "Don't worry about that, you'll find out when we get in there." And I just walked away from him, I wouldn't talk. He'd give me a funny look. Anyway, we go to the ring. Oh, I was barefoot, by the way, because I couldn't afford wrestling boots. But I thought to myself, well, that fits in with the Tarzan gimmick anyway, you know. So anyway, I couldn't feel my feet touching the ground when I went there. I was so excited. I mean, this is the first match I'm ever going to have and everything like that. Got in the ring, the bell goes, and Gentleman Geoff dove out of the corner and started rolling round and round and round the ring. I thought, I don't know what he's got in mind, but whatever it is, I'm not falling for it. I got back in the dressing room. I got back in the corner. I thought, well, he's going to stop rolling sometime. Anyway, he got up and he's looking at me really puzzled. We came together. Boom. I took him in like an arm bar, threw my legs up in the air, and drove his face right into the canvas. That was it. That was the end of the match. First thing I did to him. So I've got marching back to the dressing room. Everybody was cheering me because everybody wanted to see this guy getting beaten. He'd never been beaten. I beat him in 2 minutes. Would have beaten him in one, except he kept rolling around the ring. I've marched into the dressing room like Caesar after he'd conquered Gaul. I said, "When are you going to get me?" I said, "When are you going to give me a championship match? When are you going to get me somebody, you know?" Johnny Childs looked at me. He said, "What the effing hell were you doing?" He said, "What the effing hell are you doing out there?" And I mean, all the bloody other wrestlers were glaring at me and everything like that, like looking at me like something had scraped off off the bottom of their shoes. So anyway, I went off in the corner and everything like that. Start getting changed. Opponent came in, all screaming and sort of holding his arm and everything like that. All of a sudden, his wife burst in. She called me, "Oh, you clumsy effing bastards." What they were saying about wrestlers and other jobs. My opponent was a window cleaner, and that was the army. That was the army used. I dislocated his shoulder. He ended up rushing to hospital. His wife said, "You effing clumsy bastard! Like, what would you done? Like, you mad bleeding ape? You shouldn't be a bleeding wrestler." I remember, I've never heard a woman say anything like that before. I said, "You want to shut your dirty mouth?" I said, If you was a woman, I said, I'd do the same to you. I'd pull your bleeding arm off. Anyway, Johnny Charles took me to one side. I was supposed to get £4 for that match. And he said to me, kid, he said, I can't give you your full wages for that. He said, you weren't in the ring for 2 minutes. So he gave me £2 instead of 4. He said, listen, he said, I think you've got something. He said, but you can't be doing things like that. He said, go to the Elephant and Castle. He said, there's a guy there. I don't remember his name either, but he had a wrestling school there. And that's where
Oh,
most of the professional wrestlers used to go and train and everything. So anyway, I went along there. He said, this is a message you give him. Teach me to die. Anyway, when I got there, news had traveled fast. All the other wrestlers that was there were glaring like hell at me. And the guy now that trained him, what the hell was his name? Johnny Kilroy. Johnny Kilroy's gym. I said, Johnny Charles told me to tell you, teach me to die. Teach me to sort of. I didn't know what it meant. All the other wrestlers were absolutely glaring at me. For one thing, nobody liked newcomers.
oh,
Because there wasn't a lot of work, there wasn't a lot of wrestling shows on the opposition shows at the time. And any new person there would get a job, that maybe one of them could have got. So I mean, there was some really hostile looks and everything like that. And anyway, every one of them couldn't wait to get me in the ring. They really wanted to mess me up. But the thing is, I was still just as clumsy and as awkward and everything like that. So, I mean, they soon learned that when I went there, if they didn't give and sort of take a little bit, then they were going to get hurt. They were going to have a fight on their hands. Anyway, I can't say that I was any good. I mean, I thought I was. That was bloody terrible. It took me a long time before I actually learned to relax and sort of do something.
wow.
I found there was like lots of different promotions and stuff like that I could wrestle for. Yeah. I still kept going back and forth to Dale Martin's to try and get a show with them.
Mhm.
They kept on telling me the same thing, like, oh, you sort of this, that, and the other. But anyway, all of a sudden, I got a call from Les Martin. I'd probably been wrestling best part, 3.5, 4 years on the independents before I got a call from Dale Martin's. And they asked me to come over for a tryout. And once again, I went over there for a tryout, and Jack Dale is like watching everything like that. And he said, okay, let's see you. I want to see you having to shoot wrestling, like amateur style wrestling with this guy over there. This guy came over there out of the corner. I'm trying to think what his name was, but he'd been, not only had he been an Olympic He represented the Olympics for Britain.
Oh, wow.
He was an Olympic amateur wrestler that had decided he was going to turn pro. But he'd actually, when Tony Charles, one of the best British wrestlers ever, and he wrestled in the States as well. He wrestled in Canada and in the States. He had never managed. Tony Charles was a great amateur wrestler.
Mhm.
Every time he wrestled with this guy, what was his name? Whatever his name was anyway, he never managed to beat him. He had a bug. I mean, he really wanted to, but he never ever managed to beat him. He turned me inside out, upside down in front of Jack Dale and what have you. I managed to get away from some of the stuff that he did. Anyway, Jack Dale is sort of standing there, like looking and sort of rating at different people and everything like that. I was in there for ages with the guy. I mean, he absolutely decimated me.
Damn.
But Jack Dale said, straight, come here. He went off into the bathroom and everything like that. And I staggered after him. He said, I thought to myself, he's going to say, like, right, get lost and forget it. But he said to me, those Lancashire turns you did, he said, were really good. I said, Lancashire turns, I'd instinctively done like a twist and everything like that. And I sort of managed to get out of him. I was really blessed for being really, really very, very supple. So somebody could push me in like a position or like most wrestlers would have to submit or anything like that. But I would go just that bit further and sort of put the sort of pressure on and press down. I'd resist and then sort of throw myself the way they were going and break free. And I was really good at doing that instinctively, like it was just one of those things. Nothing I particularly learned from anybody. It was just, I was really very, very supple.
Okay.
He said, it was Lancashire turns. He said, you were really bloody good. I tell you what, if I'd had to do another one, I never would have got up. But anyway, with the skin of my teeth, Jack Dale was impressed. Got the crap beaten out of me, but he was impressed and decided to give me a try.
Nice.
So he said, right, he said, your first show will be in so-and-so and everything like that. Such a place. And that's how I got my start with him. Now, having an ego like I had and still got, I imagined it was because I was such a good wrestler and everything like that that I got to sing. Quite honestly, Dale Martins were part of joint promotions, and there's like other promoters up north.
Yeah.
And in the Midlands and all around were all part of the same. They would use each other's wrestlers and whatever. So, they were running. Dale Martins was like the biggest promoter of the lot, but there was like big promoters up north as well. I don't know where it's from. Dale Martins, before I lucked in because TV started. They just got on TV just before all this happened.
Okay.
And it was because they got on TV that I got my break, really, because Dale Martins used to run 700 shows all
Wow.
over the South and Midlands and everything like that. 700 shows a year. When they got on TV, they went on so many other places and everything like that. They were actually running 4,500 shows a year.
Oh my God.
That's why I got my break, to be honest.
Wow.
That's why.
That's all it shows.
Anyway, that's it. And first of all, I wanted to be called Kid Tarzan Jonathan to keep it on, because that's a name I'd used in the physique magazines
Yeah.
and what have you. They wouldn't have it. First of all, they called me Adrian Stewart from Scotland. I said, I'm not Scottish, I'm Welsh. And I got into a big argument with Les Martin. So I said, you know, if I can't be Kid Tarzan Jonathan, which I'd already made like a little bit famous, I said, use my real name, Adrian Street.
Oh.
So that was my real name, Adrian Street. I start whenever they'd go to a show, their Martins had a fleet of old ambulances that they'd converted into like small buses that the wrestlers used to travel in.
Okay.
Most of the wrestlers used to smoke. A lot of them were chain smokers. You'd be in there breathing all that crap. When you get to the show in the dressing room, they'd be smoking. When you got outside, you know, when you got out into the audience, in those days, the audience would be smoking. And I hated it, you know. Anyway, the bus would stop at these like little greasy spoon cafes and restaurants and stuff like that on the way to the shows. Yeah. They'd all pile in there and eat a load of crap, having bacon and flipping sausages and all that sort of stuff. So I start sort of packing my own lunch. I take some, like maybe half a chicken or something like that. Like loads of fruit and bottles of milk. And while they were in the greasy spoon, to get some fresh air and everything like that after breathing all that smoke.
Yeah.
I'd get out of the thing. I mean, I knew the route, like which way we'd be going to the show. So I'd get out and I'd walk and run along the same road that they were going. And then they'd come along, you know, and sort of pick me up again as I was going along the road. And then I'd eat my sort of healthy food. I got a kick out of it because they'd say, somebody give you a lift. There's no way you got this far, like where we're in the restaurant. But of course I did. I mean, having a lift would have defeated the purpose, you know. Getting my running, getting a bit of a workout in.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, there was a guy called Charles Masco who used to sort of edit and write in the wrestling programs for Dale Martins and any magazines and stuff like that they had. He would write and everything like that in them, and he had been a professional wrestler. In the States. He was Canadian originally, but anyway, he was working. He had an office up in Dale Martins, and he used to write the programs and sort of fill different things in with the bills and stuff like that. And I was only ever, I mean, I'd only ever be sort of anything but a preliminary wrestler for Dale Martins, unless I was on like with a big name. As it happens, the first match I ever had for him, I was main event for because I was on with Jackie Pallo, who was like a big Mr. TV. Jackie Pallo was like one of the biggest names in pro wrestling at the time. And I had my first match with him, but I was only main event because I was on with him.
Okay, okay.
Otherwise, I'd just be a preliminary, my name would be that size. Anyway, Charles Maskell had wrestled in the States, and he knew all the wrestlers. I mean, he knew Don Lee, Jonathan, and everything like that. But when he got to hear about the way I trained and all the rest of it, lifting weights and sort of running on the road and eating sort of fresh stuff and everything like that, he actually decided to call me Nature Boy.
Really?
So, I mean, Nature Boy Buddy Rogers was my second idol.
Yeah.
And anyway, I'm walking to a show, and I'd always be looking at you know, whenever I got off a train or whenever I got off the bus or anything like that, I'd be looking everywhere for the posters and see who I was wrestling with and where my position would be on the card. Nearly always a preliminary unless I was on to the main event or the semi-main event. Anyway, I'm walking to the show and everything like that, and I looked. Usually say Adrian Street, Fast and Furious. I'm on my way to a show and I looked, and it says Nature Boy Adrian Street, semi-main event.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, I thought to myself, well, this is it. I've got to sort of, what am I going to do? You know, I've straight away, there was a person living in Brixton who used to make sort of trunks and gowns and things like that for some of the guys. Most of the guys used to go in the ring like wearing like Christopher Robin, you know, I mean, sort of gowns and everything like that. You'd imagine like an old man smoking a pipe to be wearing, you know, like before you go into bed. Not much. What got me hooked on professional wrestling in the first place was the Americans with their flamboyant tapes and fancy jackets and stuff like that. And even though I loved wrestling and all that sort of stuff, they didn't have the flamboyance and everything like that the Americans had. They were very dry and everything like that. They go in the ring, just sort of throw off their Christopher Robin type dressing gowns and off they go. I thought to myself, no, you know, I've got to sort of do something. I needed boots anyway. So that's where actually going to started. I went to a place that sold sort of sports equipment and everything like that down near SoHo in London. I went in there and I said, like, I want some boots. And they showed me some wrestling boots. I said, I don't want little short ones or anything like that. I said, you know, I want something tall, you know, like taller, like a more American style. They said, well, somebody actually ordered this pair of boots. They said, but it's been ages. They paid a deposit and they haven't come in and sort of got them and everything like that. I'll give you a deal on them. I looked at them. They were powder blue wrestling boots. And they were nice and high. Oh, I couldn't wait to just about bit his hand off to buy them. I went running around Soho and everything like that. There was a shop called Borovik's that I used to go to. So I started going to get my material. I went there and I matched the boots with some material to make trunks for me. So
Mhm.
right, I've got the boots, I've got the trunks. What am I going to wear? I bought some fabric there, like a powder blue velvet with a lining, silver lame lining. And there was a woman in Brixton, not far away from the gym, used to make trunks and stuff like that for the guys. Anyway, I went there and told them more or less the way I wanted this thing to be, like puffy sleeves, powder blue, silver lame, so that I'm 27-inch waist, 47-inch chest, nice suntan. Straight away, on my way home, I got a pile of bleach and everything like that. Got my ex-wife to dye my hair blonde. And I thought to myself, that's it. I've got the look. Nature boy,
Yeah.
Nature Boy Adrian Street, like Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. So anyway, the wrestlers are as bad as the coal miners for like trying to undermine you and all the rest of it. They kept reminding me, little guys like you, you'll never make it in the business, like, you know, we, 10 a penny and all that sort of stuff. You'll never make any money. When I got to the dressing room that first night, first time I'm going to sort of unveil it, they're already saying to me, like, what have you done to your bloody hair? Like, you know what I mean? Do you think that's going to make you into a wrestler? Anyway, I couldn't wait. Got my boots on, got my trunks on, put the jacket on, everything like that. Oh, come on. You don't go into the ring like that, are you? You're actually going to go to the ring like, where do you think I'm going? Anyway, I thought to myself, they'll soon see the difference when I go out there. Everybody will be cheering.
Mhm.
What a great looking athlete Adrian Street is, like Nature Boy Adrian Street. You know, nice blonde hair, great suntan, great physique, making an effort like to sort of dress the part and everything like that. A gladiator. I went out there and it's like, "Ooh, Mary, give us a kiss. Ooh, see you later, darling." You know, and wolf whistles and all that kind of stuff going to the ring. The thing is, I was used, I'm never stuck for an answer. I was used to sort of putting the coal miners in their place when I took a piss. I was used to sort of the wrestlers, putting them in their place, never stuck for an answer. I could be really sarcastic when I want. Anyway, give us a kiss, Mary. Do we want to kiss you, fatso? You know, another one like, oh, give us a kiss, Mary. You're too effeminate. I wouldn't kiss you. You're too effeminate for me. I like my men more manly. But anyway, on the way to the ring, I was wrestling with a Scottish wrestler, Ted Hannon. And he got into the act. He's giving it this, like, and sort of blowing kisses and everything like that. You know, I thought, you sod, you're going to read, you're going to pay for that. Anyway, when I go in the ring, I waited until he turned around, everything like that. I took my robe off, run across the ring, touched him up the backside. He spun round, everything like that. And I grabbed hold of him and kissed him. And I felt that. And then I proceeded to beat him up. Him belted him all over the bleeding place. And I started skipping around the ring, blowing kisses to people and all that sort of stuff. Every time Ted Allen got me in a hold, I'd either touch him on the backside or give him a kiss. He didn't know if he was coming or going. The crowd were going nuts. And I thought to myself, well, that's not the reaction I was looking for. There's more reaction than anybody else got that night. No, I became addicted to attention. I was getting more attention and more heat than anybody. So anyway, I walked back to the dressing room and everything like that. People are still saying, "Woo, Mary, you know, to myself. I don't want the wrestlers to think that they are right and I'm wrong. So, can you imagine you're invited to a party, you're going to a party and everything like that. Somebody's dropped a banana peel or something like that on the floor. You slip over it and you fall face first into the cherry trifle or something. You get up with cream all over your face when you want to make it like a big entrance and stuff like that. So what do? I meant to do that, like, you know what I mean? You know, give us some more of that trifle. It tastes nice. You know what I mean? Make out it's, so that's the way I went in the washing life.
Wow.
And they said to me like, wow, you know, like, oh, Mary, you know, what are you doing? I said, I got more reaction than you. And that reaction and that attention stuck. I told myself, not the reaction I was looking for, not the attention I was looking for. But I got more reaction than anybody else. I became addicted to it. So every time I went in the ring, I'd think of something else to do. What else? I kept pushing the envelope until I suddenly became Exotic Adrian Street.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Wow, that's so awesome.
Yeah. Now, this is another story. Talking about all that smoke. Secondhand smoke. Living in the States by now.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden I start getting really, really itchy bad throat. Hurt in my ears, in my throat and everything like that. And I remember sort of going out in the garden and sort of coughing a load of blood. Coughed up a load of blood. So I went to the I went to the hospital and everything like that. And I said, like, you know, I've got sort of something in my throat and everything like that. And they looked, oh yeah, you know, they'd burn it, cauterize it and everything like that. Next day it'd be the same. Sometimes on my way back to the car, I'd start coughing up blood again.
Mm.
So it got that bad, I would actually put a bucket. I'd get up in the morning and start coughing. I'd put a bucket on my lap and Linda drive me to the hospital. By the time I got there, the bottom of the bucket would be swimming with blood.
Oh, wow.
I'd go in there to cauterize it again. Off I'd go. Like I say, sometimes I wouldn't even make it to the car before I had to go back and get it burned again. So I myself, you know, they're not taking it seriously enough. This isn't right, you know. So anyway,
Mhm.
I got up one morning. Linda ran and got me the bucket. I said, forget the bucket. I said, give me a big pile kitchen tissue. So she gave me a great big roll of kitchen tissue and everything like that. I just let myself bleed into it. By the time I got to the hospital, there's blood all down my vest. I've got this thing full of blood. I've gone in there, now they take me seriously. So anyway, they found out I had throat cancer.
Ooh.
So the doctor, what was his name?
Lurton. Dr. Lurton.
Dr. Lurton. The doctor called Dr. Lurton. Not the main guy to sort of see to it and everything like that. He diagnosed it. He says to me, Mr. Street, you've got 2 different kinds of very malignant throat cancer. Now I'm going to give it you straight. You're not going to make it out of this. I suggest you go home and put your affairs in order. I said to him, I ain't dying yet, mate. There's too many people in the world I haven't pissed off yet. And that turned out to be the right attitude.
Wow, that's crazy.
I took chemo. Now chemo and radiation. From radiation had a lot of bad side effects actually. But anyway, that was
2001.
yeah, that was 2001. So he told me I probably had less than 6 months to live. And like I say, I ain't dying yet. There's too many people in the world I haven't pissed off yet. Like I say, that was the right attitude. But anyway, I got better, but unfortunately, the radiation, I ended up losing my back teeth from the radiation. I've already got a cauliflower ear on this side. And I went sort of kind of deaf in this year. I'm wearing a hearing aid in there now.
Okay.
I can hear a bit without it, but you know, quite honestly, I mean, I'm all right for volume. It's clarity, yeah. I'm all right for I'm not too bad for volume, it's clarity. If I watch TV, unless I've got subtitles, I need to put this in.
Oh, okay.
But that's from smoking. So if you ever come to my house, don't you dare come in smoking.
Wow.
Otherwise you think you're one of my opponents.
Yeah.
And I've
Wow.
got some ways to hurt you, you'd have to find new ways to scream.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have to actually get back to work. I was on my lunch break, but I would love to interview you some more. Like I want to contact you to do a second interview for later in the month if it's possible.
Okay, same deal.
Yes, the same deal. Because yeah, I have to. I'm on my lunch hour for work. So when we do the second interview, I'm going to try to make it on a day that I don't have work, so I could be on here longer.
Okay, man.
Yeah, because there's still like a lot of questions I want to ask you about the whole gimmick, and so yeah, definitely. But for now, I love that. Oh my God, I love that. Nice. Nice.
It's
Oh
even
my,
it's even got my tattoos.
I see that. Yes. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on, and I'm definitely gonna be in touch because I want to do a second interview to ask more questions about it. But again, thank you so much for doing the interview. I appreciate it.
Well, it's really nice talking to you.
Definitely, man, definitely, and I will be in touch for interview too.
Okay. Bye now.
Thanks. Thank you, buddy.
Stay safe.
Thank you. You do the same. Thank you.
I think